All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Tempe DC podcast. Today is May 26, 2023. It's I, Coach Gino, back with Mark. Mark, give him a shout.
Yo, what up?
And we are coming back to you with another episode to update you guys on what's going on at 10th Planet Daly City. Let's start off with the gym updates today, and we're going to go ahead and dive in with the schedule adjustments. So, some schedule adjustments, nothing major. We're going to have some coaches come in to replace Bryson and Coach Logan while they're out in Thailand for the month. 6 a.m. is going to be covered by Ethan. Kids classes is going to be covered by myself. Ethan is also going to be picking up the 6 p.m. Beginners Muay Thai classes. We don't have too many changes to the schedule. We're going to add a few things in the next coming months, so stay tuned for that. I will let you guys know if there's any other adjustments to the schedule, but you'll see me around a lot more 12 noon classes as well. JP is going to be helping 12 noon Muay Thai classes, I should say, Tuesday, Thursdays. Coach JP is coming in to help us out as well with those classes. So it's going to be a good time for these next month. And Bryce and Logan are doing well over in Thailand. Shout out to the guys who are out there training at Fairtex for the month. The guys are going to be out there just getting their Muay Thai up, and they're going to be working with the team over there in Thailand until late June. So the updates I've been getting from them has been great. The training's been good. They've been able to see some live fights already. They've been already able to get really good training with the pro team over there. And we're just going to keep updating you guys with any changes with their schedule. I hope they can start to look at booking some future events over there in Thailand, and it would be great to see us go out there and get some fights out there. But right now they're just going out to train and just to get better, so they got no future fights booked over there for now. But you know, out there, this should be a good time for them to just get better and to improve their skills. So we have Grappling Industries this weekend. Santiago, shout out to Santiago for competing. Also, one of the kids, Patrick, is going to be competing. So shout out to you guys for going out there and representing the team. Anyone else in Grappling Industries, Mark?
Will is competing. 6 a.m. Will.
6 a.m. Well, oh, nice. Okay, so shout out to Will for competing as well. So we got a little squad going out. It's in San Jose, I believe. So it should be a good turnout for them. We are going to be looking at summer coming up in the next few weeks. A lot of people are getting off school. A lot of people are going to be available for training, so the gym should be more packed. Make sure you guys are reserving your classes. Make sure you guys are coming in. I know summertime's pretty busy season for us at the gym, and we should see a big influx of folks coming in. So with that, make sure you guys are properly geared up. You know, it's warmer weather, so you may need to work on getting some more shorts, getting more short sleeve rash guards. We're going to be looking at getting short sleeve rash guards in soon. The Muay Thai shorts as well should be coming in as well. So we have a lot more gear and merchandise coming out for you guys. So check out the website. Check out the shopping page, and we do have a current special out with the Warrior Rash Guard, the new Warrior Rash Guard that we have $10 off with the coupon code. Check our Instagram for details. That special is running for the rest of May into June. So again, get your rash guards now. I think some of the folks have already got it. I know I saw Tiara wearing it today, and a few others may get it. So fresh out there for you guys to go pick up. And again, stay tuned for more gear coming up soon. Today we also had Rich and Tiara did their Shark Tank for their birthday celebration. Mark, tell us how that went. Mark was there. I wasn't there. Sorry.
It was a massive 21-person Shark Tank. It was awesome.
Oh, wow. Each person got 21 people? Was it a minute each?
Yeah, a minute each.
Okay.
We had some homies from Bafa come through, some homies from the East Bay. It was awesome. It was fun.
If it is your birthday at the gym, let us know. We will be happy to Shark Tank you guys, okay? If you don't want to get Shark Tank, don't tell us your birthday. You don't get no celebration or nothing like that. I'm just kidding. Again, Shark Tanks are always a good time. It's basically a roulette of new guys coming in, fresh guys for a continuous round, and you just get a good time just to roll with everyone in the gym. And that's typically how we celebrate when we're at the gym. Nothing like celebrating your birthday at the gym with some good rounds with your friends, and it's always a good time. So moving on, we don't have too much with the fight news coming up this weekend. I think last weekend we saw Haney Lomachenko fight, and again, briefly, I'll talk about that because I really thought Lomachenko got that decision win. Haney ended up getting the W and keeping his undefeated record. That wasn't too surprising because boxing typically has had a history of keeping guys who are undefeated unless there's a very distinct win or knockout. Well, again, I should take that back because I felt like Lomachenko had a really distinct win over Haney, but didn't get the nod. So we'll see how that turns out for Haney when he moves on and fights the next guy, maybe Shakur Stevenson or not. But right now, Lomachenko fans especially are definitely feeling down about that decision and didn't think that was going to be the right call. And I didn't think it was the right call either. But that's all I had for the boxing news. We also had Mackenzie Dern and Angela Hill that same night, and that was a really good fight. I mean, not for Angela Hill, but for Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern had a great display of, basically kind of doing her typical skills. Her striking's gotten a lot better, but she kept looking for that takedown. She was looking for this like head and arm takedown that sometimes worked for her, but she did have some issues with it. I think Hill was able to capitalize on reversing those attacks, and but again, Mackenzie ended up getting the W. Angela Hill, unfortunately, she's been on again. She's been around for a long time, I should say that, but her record obviously is a tough one, and with the women's division not being that deep, it's not going to be that difficult to stay on the roster. But I don't know how much longer she's going to be in the UFC. I think she's a great fighter, but I don't know if she's going to be able to get to that championship status anytime soon. But who knows what the future holds for her? Mark, did you catch any of those fights last weekend?
I saw the Dern Hill fight.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it looked like Dern's aggressiveness on the feet. She looked way more aggressive.
Yeah, sharp hands. Yeah. Not bad. So was it Jason Perillo she's been working with at Ruka, so I'm sure her striking's gotten a lot sharper from him.
Yeah, it looked like it was the head and arm like judo throw.
Yeah.
It looked like it was like too forceful.
Yeah, like she was forcing that like 3 or 4 times, and Hill was able to reverse it. That takedown I don't recommend for a lot of high level folks. I mean, it may work at the white belt level and against some schmucks, but that one is very difficult. You can expose your back really easily if you get that throw. Again, this throw is where you wrap the head with one arm, and then you grab the arm with the other arm. So that kind of naturally gives the other person an underhook because you're not overhooking the arm, you're overhooking the head, and it just kind of exposes you sometimes. So you got to be careful with that throw. So if you're in the gym repping that one, again, just be super cautious about how you execute that throw because it could be your detriment if you do it incorrectly. And Mackenzie, fortunately, was able to get the win, but she's going to have to make some adjustments to make sure that throw is not going to put her in a bad spot in her next couple fights. Because if she does get a title shot, what division is she again? She's going to be is it Valentina's division?
She at the end called that Rose. So
Namajunas. So it's the 115 class, I think, strawweight, I think. So Mark pulled that up for me because I think the champ of that division is Weili, right? And I don't think Weili's going to be able to get tossed around like that. No way. She's too strong, she's too fast, and she's very, very difficult to take down and do damage on.
Yeah, that's strawweight.
Yeah, strawweight. So Weili Zhang and Dern's knocking on a title shot pretty soon. I think after maybe 1 or 2 more wins, she probably is going to get lined up for a title shot against Weili, if Weili is the current champ at that time. But that is to be determined, and we'll see what the future holds for them. So today, I wanted to change it up a little bit and talk a little bit about just general health for martial artists and folks who are working through injuries and people who are working with getting their health right in just overall general sense. Now, I told a lot of the students here who are listening, and I've told a lot of the folks in class, I've got a recent injury that I've got a tear on my LCL. An unfortunate accident happened during MMA training, and these are things that are kind of occupational hazards that I've dealt with over the years. I've hurt my ankle, I've hurt my shoulder, my back, and now my knee. So I've got a partial tear, a grade 2 tear on my LCL, and I'm out of training for 6 weeks, out of full capacity training for 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how the recovery goes. My knee's feeling great, so no need to worry about me. I'm not in severe pain or anything like that. I'm definitely a little bored now, not having the ability to train full-fledged and not be able to spar and not be able to roll. And it's unfortunate, but this is resting is a necessary part of recovery, and I've got to make sure I take the time to heal adequately. And this is something that I think everyone should take note of is when you are injured, when you are dealing with a physical injury, right? You got to take the time to heal. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do anything. You can still go into the gym. You can watch class. You can go study tape at home. You can do your study, your due diligence to get better and still improve your game even if you can't move efficiently. Right now, I'm limited with my activities. I can't be doing too many lateral movements. I can't be jumping around and putting too much impact on my knees. I can still work my hands. I can get on the back. I can box. I can still do my upper body workouts, my push-ups, my lifts and all that stuff, kettlebells. But I can't put too much stress on my knees. So this gives me an opportunity to work my upper body. This gives me an opportunity to get stronger, get my grips better, and it's still going to allow me to do something active and physical. Now, if your injury is more severe, like a spine injury or something that's going to be really it's really going to be dangerous to do any physical activity, then yeah, you will need to take the time off and recover fully. But in my case, I know how to work around the injury that I have, and I've learned throughout the years of how to work around injury. Again, all the injuries I've had in the past have been to a specific part of my body that I simply just don't let that part of my body get stressed so much in my physical activities, and I work the other aspects that I have to work on in my body. So, for example, again, my shoulder, right? If I hurt my shoulder in the past and I'm not able to throw punches efficiently, from there I work my flexibility in my hips, I work my kicks, I work my core, and I work my endurance, my stamina with running. So, again, these are all things that you learn over time to stay active and stay consistent. You can't allow injuries to stop you completely. You still have to be able to push forward and continue to move into improvement and make progress. You can't let things just stop you from doing anything, because most doctors will tell you that. You go to any doctor you have a knee injury, you have a shoulder injury, they're just going to tell you to stop. They're going to tell you to quit. They don't. Most doctors are not martial artists or athletes. They're going to say just stop doing that activity. And to a point, you do want to listen, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. They're coming from a perspective where they have no idea what we're doing in the gym. They think we're bludgeoning each other to death. They think we're breaking each other's arms. And in a sense, we are kind of doing that, but not to that degree that they think we are doing it. We got to remember that as martial artists, we're a rare breed of folks who decide to go into the gym and really work on being experts at violence, being experts at trying to do damage, and also to mitigate damage and mitigate violence. So there's a double-edged sword there where you have to be able to do so in circumstances where you're not in full health, right? So you never know when a point may come when you're injured and you still have to defend yourself. You never know when a point may come where you're compromised, your body's compromised, and you still have to defend yourself. So we train for this, and we make sure that no matter what happens, we're ready. We want to make sure we have a bunch of tools on our belt so that when the time comes to throw down, we're ready to go. And this is an emphasis I tell a lot of guys is that, when you get injured, yeah, take your time, but you got to make sure you can't let the momentum get too far down the hill. You want to make sure that you keep a decent amount of momentum so that you can get back and you still are making improvements. Sometimes a little break, couple weeks, maybe a month will give you some really good perspective when you get back to the gym. And again, that's okay. But, you're going out the gym 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, you're definitely going to have a slump coming back in. And that's not something that I recommend to anyone. Try to be consistent as possible. Try to do your homework at home. Again, even if you can't make it to the gym, find a partner that could work with you at home. Find something that you can do to stay productive. I've had folks who come in and hit the bag sitting down on a chair. I've had people, do workouts, when they're in a cast. And, those are the folks that I see who are truly dedicated, and they constantly make improvements in their game because they don't let a small injury stop them. It is important that you guys recognize the difference between these small injuries and these severe injuries. Obviously severe injuries when you're in the hospital and you're in a freaking on a ventilator, or you're freaking getting incubated or whatever the case may be. Those are very severe things that you have to deal with. If you're ill, if you have like any kind of serious disease or anything like that, yeah, you got to stay out and you got to make sure you heal. But when you're talking about like, oh, I hurt my thumb, or I got a little crick on my neck, or I got my ankle's a little sore, big deal. Get back, try to do something, and just don't let yourself get too far downhill. And just it's gonna be very difficult to get back to where you were, and that's the main point. So some of you learned this the hard way. Some of you will, I'm sure, have that experience where you get an injury and then you just you're deflated and you don't want to get back in the gym and you feel depressed and all that stuff. And again, I'm here to tell you guys that just show up, just get to the gym, even just show face sometimes, and then be there. And that environment, that vibe sometimes can help you get back into the mood and get you to feel better, because seeing your teammates around the gym and then getting that encouragement and moving around, it really is something that changes something in your psychology that'll help you get better and help you improve with that. But yeah, that's right now, again, I got a couple more weeks. It's been 2 weeks since my injury. I got about 4 weeks at least until I can fully roll and fully spar yet. And I'm itching. I'm itching right now to get back on the mat and really just move around. Right now I can just teach, and even to that degree, sometimes I have to get my other instructors like to help out with the instruction and teaching and holding pads and all that stuff. But I'm going to do whatever I can, and I'm going to try to make sure I don't push too far. It is kind of a balancing act where you don't want to go too far and make your injury worse, and at the same time you don't want to, again, don't do nothing and then just have this point where you're just stagnant and you're not making any progress. So very important notes for you guys to take and make sure that you guys listen to your body. That's the huge thing. You got to listen to your body. You got to be in tune with your body. In martial arts, that's one of the huge things. If you don't have a good understanding of your body's capacity and your limits, then you're going to be in a place where you're not really going to be able to push, and you're not going to know when to hold back. You gotta really be in tune. You really gotta understand. And when your body is in pain or when your body is feeling good, you really got to make sure that you're doing what's necessary to make sure you stay healthy. And that's the biggest point I want to make with the physical injuries. Mark, you've dealt with injuries, right? You had that back injury for a little bit, and you're still dealing with it yourself. Can you tell the crowd about what's going on with you?
Yeah, I've had a ton of random injuries, like my collarbone popped out my collarbone this year, and that wasn't fun. See, I broke my foot in jiu-jitsu. I think my MCL, I messed up.
You broke your foot? Is it a fracture or?
Yeah, it was like my left two.
Oh yeah, this was before you were at Daly City, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember Mark had a break. How was it? A fracture?
Yeah, I guess technically it was a fracture.
It wasn't like a clean break on your foot, right? There was no.
Yeah, there was. I can show you the X-ray. It's pretty funny.
Oh, we got to pull that. Pull up the X-ray.
It wasn't huge though, but
okay.
I mean, it was. You could see it, but anyway.
Kept you out for how long?
Man, I think that was like 6 months.
Okay. And how was that when you were out for 6 months? How was that time period of you? You just did nothing, right? In that time, you were still white belt, Mark, and still like learning the game, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I didn't do it right. I had a bunch of mental issues, emotional issues, just like not being able to do anything. Mm-hmm. But that was my first break. I wasn't training yet, and then I started training jiu-jitsu, and then I re-broke it in the same spot.
I see. So that injury originally was not from jiu-jitsu?
No, I was just being drunk and to be honest.
Okay. We keep it real here on this podcast. All right. So Mark, dealt with his injuries and he made it through. He's back now. Obviously, Mark's one of our most consistent students, and he's been around for a long time. But just like him and I, we've all dealt with injuries in the past. But we learn through experience, right? We learned the hard way, unfortunately, of how to deal with these situations. And sometimes it is a hard lesson to learn, and it's not fun. Injuries are never fun to deal with, but we got to keep it real and be honest and make sure we know when it's time to get back in there and get back to work, and when it's time we need to just take some time away and just recover and heal. And let's touch base on what Mark was saying about when you're out there and what happens to your mind sometimes, right? When your mind starts to stray, when your mind starts to get out of whack, and then you start feeling all types of ways, start feeling negative about everything, like, oh, I feel like I'm not shit, I feel like I'm this, I'm that. Your mind will tend to do that when you're not active, when you're not really you're not making positive progress in your life. And it's just an unfortunate thing that happens to all of us, right? We can't control always the emotions that come up in our head. We can't control the thoughts always coming up in our head. All we can do is manage them. All we can do is recognize them, respect them, and remember that we are not defined by those emotions and those thoughts. We are what we act upon. Our actions speak a lot louder, right? So when you have those thoughts come in, again, talking about, you ain't shit, you're depressed, you'll never get back to that place, and you start feeling all types of ways and negative ways, right? Stuff that doesn't give us any kind of positive vibrations, stuff that makes us really feel down. We got to learn how to put a stop to those things. Now, again, we can going back to the gym. We can talk about, finding friends and then your teammates. You can go other ways, listening to podcasts, listening to music, having some kind of therapeutic process to get back into that place. Sometimes it's really going to therapy. Sometimes we need therapists. Sometimes you really need to get help. It's not always about just having fun hobbies and everything and doing stuff to enjoy your time. Sometimes you really need professional help. And sometimes we have to recognize that when we need professional help with whether it be depression, whether it be some kind of anxiety, whether it be some kind of mental health issue that we're not equipped to handle ourselves, we got to be able to say, hey, I need someone who is an expert at this to come in and step in and guide me through this process. And there's no shame in that. Everyone at some point in their lives needs professional help, whether it be through a physical injury or a mental health issue. You need to recognize that. And those who don't recognize that tend to have more issues pile up on top of each other, and you start to spiral out of control. And it's just very sad to see. We hate to see it, right? We hate to see someone who's not getting help, who could work through these issues, but they refuse to, or they don't acknowledge it, or they're not aware of it. So at the end of the day, all of us have our own journeys, and all of us have our own issues that we're dealing with. But I'm here to say to everyone that, again, don't feel shamed to get help. Don't feel ashamed to get support, and try to approach these issues with a sense of humility, with a sense of, I am not able to do this. I need help, and that's okay. We can't do everything in life ourselves. Obviously, everything in this world is built through team efforts, is through support groups, through help, through, we build our houses, our communities, our laws, all of it through a communal effort. And then sometimes we forget that, we forget that it's a communal effort, not only for the well-being of society, but the well-being for ourselves, because we have to be able to see when we're not doing well and be able to reach out and accept the help that is given to us. Sometimes not all help is going to be the best for us, but we can't get deterred from ever trying to get help again. Sometimes you just have experiences that teach you what you don't want, teach you what you don't need. And you got to use that as a learning experience. Even though it was negative at the time, you can turn it into a positive if you learn from it. If you just kind of remember, like, hey, I remember this person told me this, I don't like that, I need to find another type of support or another type of help. And that's huge, because not everyone is going to work with a therapist on the first go, right? If you get a therapist you don't like the way they talk to you, or you don't like the vibe they get, then you can find a new therapist. If you don't like a medication that you have and it doesn't make you feel right, try a new medication, try a different approach. Sometimes you don't need medicine at all. Sometimes you can find a way to heal on your own. But if you're not making positive progress in your life, you gotta know when to flip the script, when to change your approach, and to try something different, because there's so many ways and so many opportunities to get help out there that we just got to keep an open mind. We just got to continue to search, continue to look for it. And I think over time, as you start to learn, again, what your body needs and what you need in your mind, you start to get better routines that prevent you from having these issues persist and have to come up again. If we don't learn from these injuries or from these issues that pile up on us, and these problems that our mind can sometimes create, then we're not going to be able to progress further down the line. And for all those who are dealing with these injuries and dealing with these health problems, I encourage you all, again, just to continue to work on yourselves. Take the time, don't rush it. Make sure you guys are being honest and true to yourself. Look in the mirror and see what it is you really need to work on, because a lot of us a lot of us have a tendency to push away the things that we should be accountable for, the stuff that we haven't done. Like, obviously, with some things that I've dealt with in the past, maybe I'm not eating the right diet. Maybe I'm pushing too hard. I'm not doing enough strength and conditioning. Maybe I'm not stretching enough, and these things that I've dealt with myself, and I'm not ashamed to acknowledge that. Sometimes maybe I realize I'm not pushing enough. Maybe I'm not reading enough. Maybe I'm not doing enough to keep my physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual well-being in balance. And you got to remember that all of those aspects need to have constant attention. They need to be trained. They need to be focused on, and you need to give some time. You got to give some time to focus on and improve these things, because if you don't, it can get haywire quick. And I think we've seen that happen to a lot of folks, and some of us have had it personally happen in our own lives. And until that time comes when we stand up and we say enough is enough, and we actually go forward and try to heal and try to take the time to heal and make this stuff better, it's just going to get worse. And again, I warn all you guys that even if it's not a big thing now, these things can persist to happen in the future. And I'm one that I need to learn and take that advice. I've had injuries with my knee before, and I knew that my knee was compromised, and now I'm in this place where I've got a tear, and like I'm out of training for a while. So I hope I can learn from this. I hope I get back and like start doing better strength and conditioning. I hope I get in better shape. And I plan to. That's my promise to myself, is to get better and to get healthier and to try to make sure I don't let these issues persist. But again, at the end of the day, only God knows what's going to happen to us, but we can just do our best to try to, again, stay positive, stay focused on our goals, and to continue to move forward in a positive light, because there's so many ways things can go south that if you don't stop and just recognize what you're doing and be self-aware of what you're doing, it can oftentimes lead to your detriment or lead to disaster. And I hope, again, all you guys, if you have any issues with it, any of my students, I'm no therapist myself. I'm not professionally trained, but I hear a lot of my students come to me and they talk to me about the issues they're dealing with, whether it be physically or mentally. And I'm all ears. I'll listen to my best degree. I'll point out stuff that I can point out. But again, if it's not enough, then go find help. Make sure you find help. Find someone who can support you, and continue to search for it, because it's very important that we use the resources we have around us to get the help, to get the right help we need. And we all will continue to deal with this throughout the rest of our lives. Mark, you have any other thoughts on today's podcast topic before we close it out?
I think one thing that was something that I dealt with was when I was injured, especially with my foot or with my MCL. Like the one thing that I like to do was to eat, like comfort eat.
Yeah.
But then
don't we all? Yeah.
I would look at myself in the scale and look myself in the mirror and then notice like all of the weight that I put on. And
Right.
I think I just had a really tough time mentally. That's like trying to bounce in between like,
Right.
I love eating comfort food, but at the same time, I'm getting a bunch of weight. So I'm like, I still am dealing with that now. If I have an issue with my legs or anything going on where I can't even like run or do anything like that, then this is definitely something that I'm still working on. But if you have any thoughts on, how to balance that.
The diet part of it?
Yeah, just like...
Yeah, the diet part of it is also a huge key. With health, with injuries, anti-inflammatory foods can help you recover faster if you're eating a good, healthy diet. If you're not eating processed foods, if you're avoiding sugars, alcohol, all that stuff, it'll help you recover faster, right? And even talking about mental health, when we eat better, we feel better, we think clearer, and we feel confident with it. Comfort foods have a place where in small doses, just like anything, it can help us to feel good. Nothing like having a good slice of pizza, nothing like having a good burger, a steak, and every now and then, and having stuff that may not be the best for your belt line or waistline, or even, your general health. But sometimes you need a little break. Sometimes you need to be able to treat yourself and, have those comfort foods, those foods that make you feel like, that you're in a good place, just because it's nostalgic or for whatever reason. But we have to just keep that balance, right? We just have to make sure, when I get at this point, with my injuries now, I know now I can't be doing too much with my diet, because I'm lacking the ability to physically move and be able to burn those calories, right? I'm pretty much just doing saunas a little more than I usually do, because that's the best way I can, break a sweat without having to tax my joints or my ligaments. And again, I have to do a little bit more to focus on making sure that I don't let my diet get the best of me. And the thing is, you got to be in control of your diet. With cravings, with all the feelings and sensations that you have, again, it's another emotion that you have to make sure you're not letting it control you. You have to be logical. Like, hey, am I able to, move around a lot? If not, if you're injured, then maybe I should taper down the diet a little bit. Maybe I should just get a little more veggies in. Maybe I should cut out the fats and the heavy carbs and all that stuff. And that's a challenge for all of us, because when we're in a place when we're already feeling so down with not being able to move around so much, we want some comfort. We want something. But there's other ways to find comfort at the same time, So when we think about it, food is a cheap, fast, easy way for us to find that feeling of comfort, but we know that comes with a price. We know we're going to have to pay that debt off later. We're going to have to go back once we're healed up. We're going to have to burn off those calories. We're going to have to lose that weight. We're going to have to tighten it up. So that's not something that it's not something that's impossible to recover from. But at the same time, we just have to remember the price we're paying for it, right? And if we remember that and we can bounce back, then we'll be fine. Mark, you had that issue, but you got over it. You lost. What was the weight loss change? It was from 203, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 30 pounds after the broken foot. But
Mark paid his dues. He paid. I mean, it wasn't easy, but he had to do it, and he realized. I think sometimes one of the things that we all have to do, and unfortunate as it is, we all have to learn through the experience, right? When we actually gain that weight, when we actually feel that the difference in our bodies, when we're letting ourselves go, and you're again self-aware of what's going on, and you're honest, like, hey, I need to get this together. And then you just make sure that you stay true to your word. Like when you say, I'm going to get better, you try to stay true to that word, that promise you make yourself. No one else. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to post on social media. You have to make that commitment to yourself and be able to stay true to that commitment. If you can't stay true to yourself, good luck staying true to anyone else and having the trust of anyone. I think we all have to learn how to build that trust within ourselves. And until that time comes when we're able to look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, I'm going to do this. This is what's going to happen, and follow through with that. That is when we really find the power to do everything else in life and be able to have commitments and have promises and stay true to our word. And that's a huge thing for me. I hope that you guys can relate to that and use that so that you guys can stay true to your own words to yourself and you make that promise. Until that time comes, you're going to be struggling, and it's going to be a difficult process, and we all have dealt with it, and it's nothing that you have to be ashamed of, but you have to remember that all of us at the end of the day want to be better. All of us want to do good. None of us are perfect, and we're all dealing with the struggles ourselves. So you're not alone in that struggle. Continue to fight through it. Continue to work through it, and I'm sure you're going to find a day when you look back at that journey and say, hey, I'm glad I got through that, and I'm not that anymore. So that's all for today's episode, guys. If you have any questions or anything, of course, let us know. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the good stuff. Mark, any last thoughts before we close out today?
Appreciate everyone listening.
Yes, guys, let us know if you have anything else, again, you want us to touch base on. Other than that, train hard, stay consistent. We'll see you guys later.